Welcome back to Indonesia for this year's Christmas special video, which will be away from my normal style, but we're off on a very special adventure. We'll be taking a private 3-day river cruise through Borneo's wild jungle on board a traditional wooden boat, but with a few added luxuries, great food and an amazing crew. But the main event is getting up close and personal to one of my favourite animals in the world, the beautiful and majestic Bornean orangutan. So come along with me and let's go on this epic journey together. The tour starts with collection from our hotel in Pangalangbun at 10 AM, where we then make the 30-minute drive to Kumai where the boat is moored. This is a private, all-inclusive trip which I will share with two of my good friends and the boat's fantastic crew, and I bet it costs a lot less than you think. Just a 60-second walk from the car, down a narrow alley between the local houses, and we're riverside, where our 2-deck boat awaits. Needless to say, there are no level boarding or accessible facilities at all. On the upper deck is the dining and social area along with 2 double bedrooms. This one will be my home for the next 3 days and 2 nights. They are open-sided but do have roller blinds and mosquito nets. We'll check out the bedding later on. Before we head into the jungle for this amazing adventure, let's check out the schedule for the next 3 days. We leave on the Kumai River before turning left into the national park proper. We then make an orangutan feeding station stop and jungle walk at Harapan Wharf before mooring for the first night just after. On day 2, we head further into the wilderness, make 2 more stops as far as the famous Camp Leakey. We then turn and head back the way we came before our second night's mooring and heading back to Kumai in the morning. About 10 minutes after we're on board and settled in, it's time to cast off. This is a Klotok boat, so called after the onomatopoeic sound made by its engine. Regarding power and speed, I have no idea I'm afraid, but that doesn't really matter on this trip. We will cover a distance of around 92 kilometers in total. The prices are very reasonable considering this tour was all inclusive. We paid 6.3 million Indonesian Rupiah per person and I thought it was worth every penny. On screen now are the prices for both private and shared 3-day 2-night tours, but they also do trips of up to a week and have a variety of different boats. This video is not sponsored, but I'd highly recommend them. I'll pop a link to their website down below. Shortly after departure, lunch is served. All food is cooked freshly on board and was super tasty. It mostly involved fish, but vegetarian options such as vegetable and noodle dishes were also available. And what a backdrop to enjoy it to! Firstly, we traverse the Kumai River for around half an hour, which empties a bit further downstream into the Java Sea. We then turn left and enter the narrow waterways of the national park, where the fun will really start. It doesn't take long before we spot our first sign of wildlife up in the trees. These are proboscis monkeys, famous for their long noses. We'll see many more later on. There are many communities living along these riverbanks, which is probably why the 4G signal is still pretty good out here. There is no Wi-Fi on board the boat, but I still had a usable data connection for 90% of the tour using my Holoflight eSIM. You can grab a 10% discount on unlimited data global plans. Prices start from $45 per month. Click the link below. Around 2 hours after we left Kumai, we are arriving at the first stop, Harapan Wharf, to see the orangutan feeding session and do a jungle walk. Other tour boats are already moored up here, so don't be surprised if you have to climb over or through one of these to disembark. As soon as we do, we are told to hurry as an orangutan has been spotted nearby, so we head straight there. And wow, literally 3 minutes later we are face to face with an adolescent male just chilling and having a nice chow down on some sweet potato. Such a special moment, and so early on in the trip. Next we move to the information centre to see some equally stunning creatures. This houses many exhibits telling the history of the park, all the flora and fauna you can find here, and some displays. Here's another look at the geography of the area and the route we'll be taking on this tour. We are now joined by a park ranger for our jungle walk to the feeding platform. Tanjung Puting is a hugely diverse habitat, home to thousands of different plant species, 7 of which are endemic to this national park only. On the way, we come across a mummy orangutan with her 2 kids, one of which is only around a year old. So cute. And just a few minutes after this, we round a corner and come across the alpha male of the area, called Roger. After checking us out, he continued on his walk before we all arrived to the feeding area where many more people were present. He didn't seem too bothered though. The orangutans are fed by rangers for several reasons. Some are in rehabilitation after being released from captivity, so their health and development can be closely monitored. Orangutans are also a critically endangered species due to habitat loss and illegal hunting elsewhere on the island, and controlled human assistance supports repopulation efforts. All proceeds from tourism in the area are reinvested into the conservation programs. Needless to say, Roger gets his bananas and sweet potatoes first, with all the others waiting in the wings for their turn. Finally, during the low fruit season, like now, natural foraging alone may not be enough to sustain all the orangutans in the area. Daily feedings help to ensure they get enough to eat and reduce competition amongst them. After a short while, they do proceed down to the feeding platform too, with some grabbing whatever they can carry and heading back to the trees. While others enjoy some communal time, as interested in us as we are of them. After about 45 minutes, we head back to the boat to carry on further down the river and deeper into the Borneo rainforest. On return, we are handed ice-cold towels and fizzy drinks, just what I needed. Unlimited drinking water is also available from a big cooler at the rear of the boat. This experience is one of the top 5 in my whole life, but man is it hot and humid. It's definitely time for a chill in the hammock, with a snack of pisang goreng or fried banana handed out by the crew. Speaking of the 4 crew members, they were all absolutely amazing. Here, the deckhand is actually catching the fish for our dinner later on. We travel for around 1 more hour downstream before mooring up to the banks for the night. Apart from some trees moving on the far bank, we don't see any more wildlife this evening, but I'm quite happy just having some downtime, listening to the sounds of the jungle. Then we crack out the Uno cards for a few games before dinner is served. Fish, vegetables, cassava and watermelon. So fresh and absolutely delicious again. Then it's off to my room, which has been prepared by the crew with the side blinds down and mosquito net in place. The mattress is soft, the duvet thin and airy, and pillows plump. Perfect. I finally drift off around 10 PM. Good morning. I slept pretty well for around 8 hours. It was warm, but there was a nice breeze coming in through the gaps in the blinds. Breakfast is served shortly after I get up, which consists of toast, eggs, dumplings, bananas and orange juice. We are already on the move, heading towards the 9 AM feeding station stop, so I've got some time to check out the roof deck, complete with sun loungers. I just love how peaceful it is out here, a total step change from my everyday life. While we've got some time, let's go and check out the rest of the boat. On the lower deck is the kitchen area with the amazing cook. Then there are 3 bathrooms complete with Western style toilets and showers. The water is not heated, but it's pretty warm due to the ambient temperature here anyway. Next is the crew area where they sleep and relax, with the helm just beyond at the front of the ship. Finally, at the stern, spanning the whole width of the boat, is the Royal Master Suite, which has a queen bed, 2 pull-out single beds and a private ensuite. Just before we alight for today's first adventure, we pass by some locals' houses. It must be quite a serene life out here. Followed by 2 macaques, who are very interested in a crocodile swimming beneath them. There is only one other boat moored at the jetty when we arrive, and again we must walk for around 15 minutes through the jungle to the tour's second feeding station stop. Okay, let's talk about mosquitoes. On board the boat, they weren't a problem, especially when moving or at night with the mosquito net. However, I got many bites when walking through the rainforest, despite being heavily and repeatedly caked in bug spray. Make sure to use a 50% plus DEET one. Officially, there are low risks of both malaria and dengue fever in Borneo, so even if you are bitten lots, it shouldn't cause any problems other than the irritation. This is my 3rd time in Borneo, and I've had no problems so far. We are the first group to arrive at the viewing area, and within 5 minutes the first orangutans arrive. I have wanted to do this tour, or one like it, since I first learnt about them 7 or 8 years ago. And my god, has it lived up to and far exceeded my expectations. It's an absolutely magical experience, one that should be on everyone's bucket list. Borneo is home to around 85% of the 120,000 wild orangutans estimated to be left in the world, and Tanjung Puting is home to around 6,000 of those. The only other island where you can find them living in their natural habitat is Sumatra, Indonesia's most westerly island. On the way back to the boat, our guide stops to show us some of the famous pitcher plants which are found all around here. These carnivorous fauna produce a sweet nectar which lures small insects into the top, and then they slide down the slippery inner surface to the trap below, which is filled with liquid digestive enzymes which dissolve or eat the prey. When we get back to the dock, there's quite a boat jam occurring. That's our Klotok over there. It was the largest one I saw on the whole trip. By the way, she was called Lydia if you're interested in booking her. Back on board, and after another cold towel, I head to my room for a much needed hour or so rest and to enjoy the boat window views. Before our final stop of the trip, lunch is served. I do quite a lot of these day or multi-day tours, and I have to say the food on this one was among the best I've ever had. We now pull up to Camp Leakey and disembark for the last feeding session. This is named after Dr. Louis Leakey, the prominent British paleoanthropologist, a pioneer in demonstrating that humans evolved in Africa. Since 1971, the camp has been home to OFI, the Orangutan Foundation International, the most important research and rehabilitation facility to the species in the world. On the way to the viewing area, we pass some more macaques playing in the trees and on the elevated walkways. Although the ranger's primary job is to care for the orangutans, they also share the food with other animals who may be passing, such as this gibbon. This little guy was keen to get in and out before any of his larger, distant relatives arrived, and just in time too. First, this mother and baby arrive. Isn't this just the cutest thing ever? And when Mum's back is turned, the gibbon sneaks back for a second helping of bananas. After this, 3 or 4 more orangutans came to feed, including this large male. I know it looks like we're right on top of them with these zoom shots, but we are in fact a safe distance, as seen here. They are so agile and move so gracefully. This whole experience was such a pleasure to be a part of. Our guide says we can leave when we're ready to avoid the boat chaos at the dock, so we make a retreat. On the way back, we do catch a glimpse of this guy who is just chilling out behind the research centre. And then, as we start to head towards home, we spot hundreds more macaques and proboscis monkeys hanging out in the treetops lining the riverbank before dinner and another night on the water. If you want to check out a much faster experience on board Indonesia's bullet train, then click the link above now. I don't think you'll be surprised to hear that I'd highly recommend this tour. Not even the heat and mosquito bites could put a dampener on things. The overall experience was well worth it, 10 out of 10. We arrived back to Kumai around 11 AM the following morning. Have you been on any jungle or wildlife river cruises before? If so, whereabouts? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching to the end. Happy Christmas to all, and I'll see you in the next video.